not all feedback was created equal. So it's really important who you actually ask for feedback. Okay, guys, so there are layers to this thing, okay? There are several different layers to feedback, who you're asking for feedback, and how to actually take the feedback that they're giving you. Okay, so the first kind of layer of feedback is yourself, right? Looking at a piece of work that you've done, a song or a graphic piece of art. How do you feel about it? Definitely would recommend, completing it and then taking a couple of days away and then coming back to look at it. How is it to you? Does it meet your standards? Are you happy with it? Is this the level or the quality of work that you're happy to put out there? It's really, really important to be clear on that. And make sure you know where you kind of stand on that. The next kind of layer of feedback that you kind of have is your friends, right? So, for a lot of us have group chats where, we send a piece of work into our group chat and be like, okay, what do you think about this? And your friends, because they're your friends, usually they'll support you and be like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is great. And, that then is, another level of assurance that what you've done is really, really good. Then you can kind of send your work to your colleagues, right? People who are in the industry, people who understand. Now, their take on it might be completely different because obviously they have the knowledge, they have the experience, and they know your standard and your quality of work. So they might be able to provide you with a different and nuanced perspective on it. And then of course your clients, right? So the people that you make the work for, so maybe your audience, or the client that you've made the graphic design work for, what their kind of take on it. Do they love it? Do they hate it? Do they think it's right? Are they enjoying it? That's another type of feedback. And then the other kind of feedback and the final kind of feedback you could have is kind of just from your general audience. So people that follow you on social media, people who are interested in you and what you've got to share, especially if you're a graphic designer or a visual artist of some kind or a dancer or whatever the case may be. People that follow you on socials who are interested in you, like I said, what is their take on it? Are they engaging with that piece of content or are they ignoring it? That is a level and a sort of feedback as well. So these are the different layers of feedback that exist. However, as an individual, it's really important to be clear on which layers are important for what you're doing and which aren't. For a content creator, the people that are viewing their content is probably the most important feedback for them, because then they know what sort of content to make next. However, that very same content creator might have shown it to a member of their family and maybe their mom or their dad, and they're like, I don't get this. This is so weird. Like, I don't understand why that's funny or why that's, a good piece of content to put out there. So your family might not understand, but the people that you're actually doing it for do understand and do appreciate it, right? So it's important to understand that the different layers of feedback exist, and you have to be able to ascertain and decide which one is actually most important for whatever it is that you're doing. If you work in an agency, it might be that your colleagues' feedback is the most important to you because, like I said, they might have more experience than you. They've worked on kind of more projects than you, and so because of that you rely heavily on their feedback in terms of what to improve or what to make better. And then there may be instances where it's your friend's feedback that's the most important. For example, in terms of outfits and looks and styles, maybe you might be like, okay, does this look good? Does this outfit make sense? How am I coming across to you? So maybe your friend's opinion in that instance is the most important. So like I said, it's super important to be clear on which type of feedback is the most important to you and which one you should just kind of take with a pinch of salt. But ultimately, as a creative, you should always be thinking about your audience, the people who are going to consume your content. I don't think your audience should dictate what sort of content you put out, but they should dictate how you put it out, right? So if your audience are far more engaged with reels, for example, on Instagram, then you should put out more reels. That's just basic, responding to their kind of levels of engagement and interaction. Okay, so just remember that, feedback is different, and so just because one person or one type of person or the area that they represent in your life, just because they don't like it, does not mean that other people won't like it. So you have to be careful whose feedback you take on, so that you can really create and really put together a piece of work that you're proud of.